This millionaire lost $25 million in 1 year and thought his life was over. But this billionaire lost nearly $1 billion and kept playing like it was pocket change. One group gambles their life savings away in desperation. The other gambles countries' worth of money for pure entertainment. Today we're diving into the most devastating gambling losses in history, and you'll discover why losing $1 million makes you an amateur compared to the billionaires who treat $100 million losses like a bad day at the office. Let's start with the millionaires, because their stories will break your heart before we get to the truly insane billionaire losses. Charles Barkley, the NBA legend worth around $80 million, has admitted to losing over $25 million gambling throughout his career. But it wasn't spread out over decades. Barkley would lose $1 million nearly 25 different times. His biggest single loss happened during a brutal 6-hour blackjack session, where he dropped $2.5 million. "I've lost $1 million probably 10 to 20 times," Barkley admitted in interviews. The man who dominated on the basketball court was getting destroyed at the card tables. What makes it worse is that Barkley knew he had a problem. He even stepped away from gambling for periods, but the addiction always pulled him back. The psychological toll was devastating. Barkley has spoken openly about how gambling affected his family relationships and his peace of mind. When you're worth $80 million and you lose $25 million gambling, that's nearly a third of your entire fortune gone forever. Then there's professional golfer John Daly, who managed to lose $1,650,000 on slot machines in just 5 hours. Not blackjack, not poker, slot machines. Daly was literally pulling a lever and watching his fortune disappear $1,000 at a time. He later admitted this was just one of many devastating gambling sessions that cost him millions over the years. But perhaps the most heartbreaking millionaire gambling story belongs to Jimmy White, the legendary snooker player. White lost over $3 million gambling on horse racing and blackjack, money that represented years of prize winnings from his professional career. The losses were so severe they threatened not just his wealth, but his entire livelihood. White's gambling addiction went hand in hand with drug and alcohol abuse, creating a spiral that nearly destroyed his life. Despite reaching the World Snooker Championship finals 6 times, his off-table battles with gambling addiction prevented him from ever winning the title that could have secured his legacy. For millionaires, these losses represent catastrophic life changes. When Charles Barkley loses $2.5 million, that's money that could have secured his family's future for generations. When Jimmy White loses $3 million, that's his entire career earnings gone. But billionaires? They operate in a completely different universe. Kerry Packer, the Australian media mogul worth over $6 billion, lost $42 million between September 1999 and August 2000. His most legendary session was a 3-day baccarat tournament in Las Vegas, where he lost $20 million. But here's the kicker. When he was winning, Packer would tip dealers $1 million just because he was in a good mood. One famous story has Packer at a London casino, where he won so much money that he almost forced the establishment to close. Another time, he reportedly paid off a waitress's entire mortgage in a single night just as a tip. For Packer, gambling wasn't about the money. It was about the thrill and the power to change people's lives with casual generosity. The difference in mindset is staggering. When millionaires lose big, they're devastated. When Packer lost $20 million, he treated it like entertainment expenses. The man was literally using $100 million gambling sessions as his form of recreation. But even Packer's losses pale in comparison to the true kings of gambling destruction. Harry Kakavas, an Australian real estate mogul, achieved something that seemed impossible. He lost nearly $1 billion gambling. Between 2005 and 2006, Kakavas wagered approximately $1.47 billion at Melbourne's Crown Casino, with most of it going to baccarat. The scale is mind-numbing. In May 2006, Kakavas lost $164 million in less than 6 hours. That's $27 million per hour. To put that in perspective, that's more money than most millionaires are worth, lost every single hour for 6 straight hours. Kakavas would bet $300,000 on a single hand of baccarat, like most people bet $20 on a lottery ticket. The casino gave him everything: private jets, luxury suites, personal attention. Because his losses were so massive, They represented a significant portion of the casino's annual revenue. When Kakavas finally realized the magnitude of his losses, he did something unprecedented. He sued the casino for $1 billion, claiming they had exploited his gambling addiction. His lawyers argued that Crown Casino had deliberately enabled his compulsive gambling by providing unlimited credit and luxury perks. The case went all the way to Australia's High Court, where Kakavas argued that the casino had a duty of care to protect him from his own addiction. But in 2013, the court ruled against him, determining that he was a successful businessman who understood the risks of his gambling decisions. The ruling essentially said that when you're a billionaire, casinos have no obligation to protect you from yourself. Kakavas lost not only his fortune, but also his legal battle to recover any of it. But the most devastating gambling story in American history belongs to Terrence Watanabe, a businessman who inherited the Oriental Trading Company and sold it for hundreds of millions. Between 2005 and 2007, Watanabe lost an estimated $204 million gambling in Las Vegas, primarily at Caesars Palace and the Rio. His losses were so massive, they represented 6% of Harrah's Entertainment's total annual gambling revenue. One man's gambling addiction was literally supporting a significant portion of a major casino company's profits. Watanabe's story gets darker. He would gamble for up to 24 hours straight, betting $50,000 per hand at blackjack while consuming massive amounts of alcohol. Casino employees served him 2 to 3 bottles of premium vodka per day, keeping him intoxicated and gambling. The most disturbing part? When Watanabe ran out of money, Caesars extended him a $17 million credit line, knowing he was already deeply in debt and showing clear signs of gambling addiction. They weren't just enabling his addiction, they were profiting from his psychological destruction. When Watanabe finally couldn't pay his debts, Caesars had him arrested and charged with theft. But Watanabe fought back, suing the casino and claiming they had deliberately kept him intoxicated and provided him with prescription drugs to keep him gambling. The legal battle revealed shocking details about how casinos treat their biggest losers. Court documents showed that casino employees had explicit instructions to keep Watanabe drinking and gambling, even when he was visibly impaired. Eventually, both sides dropped their lawsuits, but the damage was done. Watanabe had lost his entire fortune and nearly faced decades in prison for debts created by his gambling addiction. Robert Maxwell, the British media tycoon and father of Ghislaine Maxwell, holds the record for the fastest massive gambling loss ever recorded. Maxwell lost over $2 million in less than 3 minutes playing 3 different roulette wheels simultaneously at Les Ambassadeurs Casino in London. But Maxwell's story gets even crazier. He was essentially gambling with money that wasn't his. His publishing empire was built on fraudulent financial practices, and he had stolen millions from his company's pension funds to cover his gambling debts and lavish lifestyle. When Maxwell died mysteriously at sea in 1991, investigators discovered he had defrauded his companies of over $1 billion. His gambling losses were just one part of a massive financial fraud that destroyed the retirement savings of thousands of employees. The speed of Maxwell's loss, $2 million in under 3 minutes, demonstrates the insane pace at which billionaires can destroy wealth. While millionaires might lose their fortunes over months or years of gambling, billionaires can lose more money than most people will ever see in the time it takes to order a coffee. Akio Kashiwagi, a Japanese real estate mogul, was every casino's dream customer. With an annual income exceeding $100 million, Kashiwagi would wager $100,000 to $200,000 per hand at baccarat, treating massive bets like pocket change. His most famous session occurred at Donald Trump's Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, where he reportedly won $9 million in one session. But Kashiwagi's gambling was so extreme that casinos would literally bend their rules to accommodate him. Frank Rosenthal, owner of the Tangier Casino, once had his pilot fake a mechanical failure just to keep Kashiwagi in Las Vegas longer. The casino provided him with luxury suites, unlimited credit, and constant attention because his potential losses were so massive. But Kashiwagi's story ended tragically. In January 1992, he was found murdered in his home near Mount Fuji, stabbed over 150 times with a samurai sword. The murder remains unsolved, but investigators believe it was connected to his massive gambling debts and possible ties to organized crime. Kashiwagi died owing casinos at least $9 million, but his lifetime gambling losses were estimated to be much higher. His death highlighted the dangerous world of ultra-high-stakes gambling, where the amounts of money involved can attract criminal elements. Maureen O'Connor, former mayor of San Diego and widow of Jack in the Box founder Robert Peterson, represents one of the most shocking gambling addiction stories in American politics. Over the course of the 2000s, O'Connor gambled away an estimated $1 billion on video poker. Yes, you read that correctly, $1 billion on video poker machines. Her losses were so massive that she ended up $13 million in debt despite starting with a fortune worth hundreds of millions. The most disturbing part of O'Connor's story is how she funded her gambling addiction. When her personal fortune ran out, she began stealing from her late husband's charitable foundation, taking $2 million to continue gambling. O'Connor's case revealed how gambling addiction can destroy even the most successful and respected individuals. Here was a woman who had served as mayor of a major American city, who had been involved in philanthropy and public service, reduced to stealing from charity to feed her gambling addiction. In 2013, O'Connor avoided prison by agreeing to pay restitution and undergo treatment for gambling addiction. Her lawyer claimed that a brain tumor had affected her judgment, but the damage was done. Her political legacy was destroyed, and the charitable foundation was forced to close. From the casino's perspective, billionaire gamblers are worth their weight in gold. Harry Kakavas' losses at Crown Casino were so significant that they had to be mentioned in the company's annual financial reports. One man's gambling addiction was material to a publicly traded company's financial performance. Casinos will do anything to keep billionaire gamblers playing. They provide private jets, luxury suites, personal chefs, and unlimited credit. When Terrence Watanabe was losing $204 million, Caesar's Palace created a special VIP tier just for him, with perks that weren't available to any other customer. The treatment millionaire gamblers receive is nice, but it's nothing compared to the royal treatment given to billionaires. Millionaires might get comped meals and hotel rooms. Billionaires get private gaming areas, personal staff, and credit lines that exceed the GDP of small countries. Today's gambling landscape shows the same patterns, but with even more extreme numbers. Professional gambler and businessman Dan Bilzerian claims to have won over $100 million gambling, but he's also admitted to massive losses that he keeps private. Meanwhile, celebrities like Drake make headlines for million-dollar sports bets, but these amounts are considered small compared to the ultra-high-stakes gambling happening in private rooms around the world. The rise of cryptocurrency has created new opportunities for massive gambling losses. Some crypto-billionaires have reportedly lost hundreds of millions gambling with digital currencies, but the anonymous nature of these transactions means we may never know the full extent of these losses. So who loses more money gambling? Millionaires or billionaires? The answer isn't even close. While millionaires might lose $25 million over their entire careers, billionaires can lose that amount in a single night. Harry Kakavas lost nearly $1 billion, which is more than most millionaires' entire net worth multiplied by 40. But the real difference isn't just the amounts, it's the impact. When millionaires lose big, it changes their lives forever. When billionaires lose big, they order another drink and keep playing. The most expensive gambling losses in history all belong to billionaires, and it's not even close. These are people who can lose more money in one session than entire countries spend on education or healthcare. Yet somehow, the billionaires keep playing. They treat $100 million losses as the cost of entertainment, while millionaires are devastated by losses that represent a fraction of billionaire gambling sessions. In the end, gambling addiction is a disease that affects people at every wealth level. But when billionaires get addicted, the numbers become so large they stop making sense to normal people. The house always wins, but when you're a billionaire, you can afford to let the house win for a very, very long time. And sometimes, that's exactly what destroys you. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out the videos on your screen for more shocking stories about the extreme world of the ultra-wealthy.